150 years ago, a group of individuals are carefully studying their Bibles in search for the truth. Yet in a century and a half, this group will become an extensive popular congregation, large enough to occupy 209 countries, vast enough with more than 18 million followers, big enough to have universities, colleges, hospitals, TV and radio stations, and a worldwide network of believers. Yet in 1844, it was barely a disappointed group of scattered men and women within the villages of Michigan. This is a story of faith, commitment, revelation, and division. In the early 1840s, there was a man named William Miller. He was a Baptist preacher and a former army captain of 1812. He started the Great Second Advent Awakening, which eventually spread throughout most of the Christian world. He studied Daniel 8:14 and calculated that Jesus would return on October 22nd, 1844. When Jesus did not appear, Miller's followers experienced what became to be called the Great Disappointment. Most of those who had joined the movement left. The few left, however, went back to their Bibles to seek for the reason of their disappointment. Surprisingly, they concluded that the 22nd date was correct indeed, only that Miller had predicted the wrong event for that day. They became convinced that the Bible prophecy predicted not that Jesus would return to earth in 1844, but he would begin at that time a special ministry in heaven for his followers. They still looked for Jesus to come soon, however, as do Seventh-day Adventists here today. From this small group who refused to give up after the great disappointment arose several leaders who built the foundation of what would become the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Standing out among these leaders were a young couple, James and Ellen G. White, and a retired sea captain named Joseph Bates. A small nucleus of Adventists began to grow. At the time of the Great Disappointment, Ellen G. White was merely a teenager. She became a gifted author, speaker, and administrator. In fact, she became and remained a trusted spiritual counselor for the Adventist family until her death in 1915. It was believed by early Adventists, as even today, that she received special guidance by God in writing all the counsels to the living body of believers. Additionally, it's believed too that she received revelations and visions, which have been preserved to date in many volumes and copies of her writings, all adding up to approximately 10,000 pages of written information. As a church, Seventh-day Adventist didn't get a name and a formalized structure until 1860 at Battle Creek. At this time, the loosely knit congregations chose the name Seventh-day Adventist with a population of 3,500. For about 10 years, work was confined in North America. Most of the Adventists then came from the New England states of America. However, in 1874, J. N. Andrews was sent to Switzerland, therefore becoming the first Adventist missionary to take the gospel out of North America. Later, in 1879, Dr. H.P. Britton moved to Africa's Egypt. Here, he built a school which did not survive riots that broke after some time within the vicinity. Amidst many challenges in making evangelical efforts, souls were won. Every problem encountered was met with faith, prayer, and willingness to act. And this made the church to grow rapidly. In 1886, an Adventist minister went to Russia. making it the first non-Protestant country to be entered. By 1890, an Adventist-owned sail called Schooner Pitcairn was launched at San Francisco, and thereafter it was engaged in sailing missionaries to the Pacific Islands. Seventh-day Adventist workers first entered non-Christian countries in 1894, Gold Coast, Ghana, West Africa, and Matabeleland, South Africa. The same year saw missionaries entering South America, and in 1896, there were representatives in Japan. The church now has established work in 209 countries and has more than 18 million members. It's growing at 40% per year. This has been made possible by the vigorous evangelical activities which have been done all along. Through the ministries of education, medical work, field preaching, Bible study conferences, literature evangelism, and personal encounters, more souls submit to God in the baptismal waters. Many have testified that the gift of music, strongly advocated for by Adventists, have led many to Christ. Another ministry was launched years later and given the acronym ADRA, Adventist Development Relief Agency Info. Its purpose is to render relief and aid in times of crisis, emergencies, national disasters, material support to needy societies, among others. At the dawn of the year 2000, a special ministry was established under the name Adventist-Muslim Relation to build a better understanding between Adventists and Muslims. This has helped to preach the Adventist gospel to Muslims. It's also been used as a tool to access Muslim-dominated countries in a bid to take the gospel to the whole world. The church continues to labor day and night to reach all corners of all nations, peoples, races, tribes, and ages.